Hello everyone, my name is Angelica and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with only one but on the biggest scale project. To create this video I was inspired by these photos which I found on Pinterest. This shelf gives me the Mediterranean vibe of something that was taken from Flintstone's house. I love its organic shape, soft curves and almost stone looking finish. And to make it, I will be using cardboard and a plaster. I started with designing my shelf. I wanted to have few separate sections when I can put smaller decorations. But you of course can design your own version, you can make it as small or as big as you want. I'm really happy how it turned out, so let me show you how I made it from start to finish. First of all, welcome to my new setting. I hope you like it. As I've mentioned before, this shelf will be made out of cardboard. I found this one which I thought will be perfect for this project. It measures about 51 times 38 centimeters. I will need only 5 walls, so I cut the excess parts of the cardboard box off. I started with scissors but quickly swapped them for knife. This cardboard is quite hard as it has 2 layers, so cutting it with the sharp knife is much easier, plus you don't change its shape too much. This will be back wall of my shelf. I tape it few times to make sure it's all secured. Following my design, which I've shown you before, I start working on individual section of this shelf. I start with the biggest arch shape. I'm looking for piece of cardboard which is higher than my box, and then I fold it and mold it to the shape I want. To make it almost steady and strong, I'm going to fold the bottom part of this piece and glue it to the back wall. I measure how much I have to cut it from the bottom so the piece matches the height of the box. Then I make few cuts along this line. One piece will fold this way and another one opposite way. I'm moving my arch shape back to the box, folding each piece in the right direction. And to attach it, I'm using hot glue in generous amount. I put the glue to as many possible places as I can. It will make the whole construction much stronger. First part is ready, let's make other sections. Tip for cutting the cardboard: it's of course so much easier to cut it when lying flat. So I take spare piece, put it underneath and then go easily with the knife. This way you don't damage your worktop and also get nice and smooth cuts. To make the other smaller arch shelves, which will go inside the box, I follow the same technique. I plan how I want it to look like. Cut piece higher than the box and then create the folded end which I glue to the back wall. Of course, you want to make it as strong as you can, so extra wall here and there are always a bonus. When I was making the arch shapes, I've noticed that one layered cardboard is much easier to work with. For the straight walls I would use double one, but when I do the curves, one layer bends so much easier and gives a better finish. I fill all gaps with the craft paper. Double up the bottom, making sure each wall has the same thickness. I use few small clumps in places where I just put the glue. Then I cut the pieces to cover all the holes and create the front of the shelf. I also glue extra pieces outside of the box. Once I was happy with the shape, I started taping all connections. I'm using paper masking tape. The purpose of it is to cover all the gaps so the plaster won't go in. Like also it keeps the whole construction together. Once all connections are taped, I take PVA glue and mix it with water in proportion 1:1. PVA is also used to paint the bare walls before you plaster them. It creates some kind of barrier so the wall doesn't suck in too much water from the plaster and prevent the cracking. In this case, cardboard would basically get ruined from the water in the plaster. That's why it's important to use it. And with wide brush, I spread it all over the shelf. Once glue has dried, I take jointing tape and tape it in the most fragile places like corners and edges. This step is not necessary, but I highly recommend doing it. It again prevents the plaster from cracking, like also makes the plaster stick better to the smooth surface of the cardboard. And the most time-consuming step, which is plastering. I will be using undercoat plaster. It's basically something what you fill the gaps in the wall before the final plastering. The texture is rougher than the normal plaster, giving the object more of the organic earth clay finish. I mix it with the water to the right consistency, which is not too runny but not too thick as well. Using puffy knife, I start applying it onto my box. I start with the flat parts at first. I take small amount of it at the time and try to spread it evenly. Then I take a wider spatula which gives smoother finish. For the corners and curves, I'm using my small painting puffy knife. Moving up, I start covering the walls, making sure the bottom and wall are nicely connected. It's really satisfying process and you get better and better at it after each wall. Then I move to the top and cover the front of the shelf. Getting messy in there, I finish it all by plastering the outside walls. I try to apply even layer which is not too thick, just to cover the tape and cardboard.
For smaller parts and to get a better finish, I found silicone end of spatula quite handy. That's how it looks when it's all covered. You can already see a few places are in lighter color, which means plaster is drying in there. I think that I've done quite a good job considering that I've never done plastering before.
After almost 24 hours of drying, my shelf is ready. It's fully dry. So what I'm gonna do now, I think I'm just gonna leave it how it is. I won't be painting it. The first idea was to paint it white, but I really like this brown, like a clay look, stony, earthy color. I also won't be sanding it down. I like the rough finish to it, but if you want to achieve more like a tidier and smooth surface, you can always take a sanding paper and sand all the edges out. And if you don't like the color, you can also paint it in whichever color you like. As you can see, I wasn't plastering the back of the shelf as there wasn't really point of it. You will just add extra weight on it. My shelf will end up on the top of my chest of drawers. I knew it from the beginning that I won't be hanging it on the wall. But if you want to hang it on the wall, I would recommend not doing it as deep as I did. Just because it will stick out from the wall too much. And if you want to hang it on the wall, just make some holes at the back to be able to hang it on the wall. Remember, it's got a bit of the weight, so the screws have to be quite long. And now it's time to decorate it.
I think it came even better than I was expecting, and even that I've managed to make only 2 arches on the top part, I still think it creates a very unique piece of furniture.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumb up and subscribe to my channel for more DIY projects. And as I have spare room now for working on bigger scale projects, let me know in the comment section what else you would like to see me working on. And for now, thank you so much for watching, your support, and I will see you in my next video.